Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. Okay, we have royal family news, but we have a lot of Harry Meghan stuff that's coming out. Unbelievable. Once again, mainstream media trying to catch up to the YouTubers. Let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start with Prince William because he went on an outing with Cate Blanchett. I mean, talk about Hollywood royalty. He went to visit one of the Earthshot Prize finalists in Norwich that are making clothing more sustainable. This is really interesting, actually. I find this interesting. This happened on Thursday. It's a UK-based company called Colour Fix, which was an Earthshot Prize finalist in 2023. Now remember, Cate Blanchett now sits on the Earthshot Prize Council, and she previously joined William for the prize awards in Singapore 2 years ago. And she says that this tour of this facility changed the way she looks at what colors to wear. So they visited 4 different laboratories that each illustrate a step in Colour Fix's process of making environmentally friendly fabric dye. So the two of them learned about the technical DNA sequencing of natural colors. And with that, William was like, wow, I probably should have listened more in my chemistry classes. He's like, it's like listening to the whole thing about, damn, why didn't I pay more attention in chemistry class? Apparently, some colors are more difficult to make sustainable, but rather than using what they call petrochemicals, which pollute the planet and are harmful to wildlife, which include, by the way, the colors black, green, white, and blue. Now, that is interesting. I didn't know that. Ms. Blanchett said the visit had certainly been an education in color and what is possible, and that she's definitely going to look at the amount of white and black and blue in her wardrobe and maybe try to gravitate towards pink and peaches. Now, what Colour Fix does is it uses DNA sequencing and natural colors to create sustainable dyes. The aim or the idea is to replace the fashion industry's use of chemically synthesized dyes, okay? The industry of fabric dyeing currently consumes, and I was shocked, 5 trillion liters of water globally each year. And it harms the wildlife because these chemicals seep into water sources. So this company, Colour Fix, aims to reduce this impact by identifying a color that's created naturally, either by animal, plant, or microbe, and then using the DNA to pinpoint where that color is coded in the genetics of that organism. The DNA code is then translated into a safe microbe that is then transported to a dye house, which supports the growth of the color through fermentation. Anyway, the result of all of this is a dye that can be transferred to fabrics using no of the petrochemicals, none of them. That's pretty cool. All right, next up, this really makes me angry, actually. There's a new Broadway play where Prince George is the subject of the play that's titled Prince George, the short word is FAG, and the long word is add GOT to it. It was written by a Canadian author. It's disgusting. And it's set in 2032. And it sees 18-year-old Oxford student Prince George return home with an Indian boyfriend. In the play, the boyfriend is nervous about being brought to the UK to meet George's parents, who think he's going to be another Meghan Markle. There's a lot of scenes about tabloid feeding frenzy, and the audience have to place their phones in lockable pouches to prevent taking pictures because there's apparently some very graphic sex scenes. Why somebody would write a play about a 10-year-old boy, I don't know, but I think it's disgusting. People are disgusting. All right, let's move on to Ascot Day 3. In carriage number 1, we have the King and Queen along with the Marquess and Marchioness of Salisbury. I love Camilla's hat today. She'd be looking stylish. All right, then you get up to carriage number 2, which has Princess Anne, Sir Tim Lawrence, and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. Sophie looks gorgeous. On this day, by the way, it was Sophie and Edward's wedding anniversary, and Sophie looked absolutely breathtaking. She had on this green and white outfit with the hat. It was a floral, inspired look. She looked absolutely gorgeous. And also, Anne with this blue veil over her face. I mean, just beautiful. Let's move on to our third carriage. We had Beatrice Princess Beatrice. We had her husband, Eduardo Mapelli Mosey. I never think I'm saying that right. Princess Zara Aga Khan and Mr. William Haggis. Now, I have to tell you, Beatrice was looking absolutely gorgeous. I love this yellow dress. You'll get a better look at it a little bit later on in the video with these purple and white flowers in it, or blue flowers, and this white hat. She looked absolutely gorgeous, and I loved the hair. She had it up in this high ponytail. Now, for those of you who are wondering about the woman sitting next to her, Princess Zara's father passed away earlier this year. He was the 49th hereditary imam of the world's Muslims, but apparently was a very influential figure in high society, and he's known for his close ties with the British monarchy. And finally, in the last carriage, you have Zara and Mike Tyndall and Mr. and Mrs. Parente. No, I have no clue who they are. Now, Zara, they came out and said she was giving My Fair Lady vibes with that outfit that she was wearing. She looked gorgeous. Remember, the third day was Ladies' Day of the 5-day Ascot. So again, she was in the fourth carriage. She's wearing pearl earrings, this gorgeous black and white fascinator hat. Amazing. Just gorgeous. All right, so the carriages stopped. Everybody got out and they made their way. You know how they do. They go through the parade area and they meet the jockeys, and then eventually they head on up to the royal box. And I'm going to say again, as I've told you guys before, that you have to remember when you're looking at these pictures that this is a family, not the firm. I still to this day do not know what Harry's talking about. But when you see these pictures, you just know that they have a lot of love and affection between them, and they're obviously very happy together. Everybody is. I also wanted to include a better picture of what Anne was wearing with the hat and the veil, because I just thought she looked so stylish. And notice the white gloves and the brooch. I mean, this woman knows everything and anything about style. And, so do the others, but still. They all looked absolutely amazing. Now, Harriet Sperling and Peter Phillips were there again on day 3. Now, what's really nice about this whole thing, remember, this is Peter Phillips' girlfriend. She's not an official member of the family. They're simply dating. But I love the fact that Princess Beatrice went right up to greet them and say hello. I almost feel like she's trying to make the woman feel comfortable around everybody and all this attention. I don't think she's used to it. So after they greeted and said hello, they headed over to stand with the rest of the family. And everybody happened to notice that when the king walked up, this girl, Harriet Sperling, apparently performed the perfect curtsy for the first time in public. Good for her. Way to go, girl. All right. So, of course, now everybody heads up to the royal box because this is where the fun begins. Now, one of the things that was noticed, everybody looked up and saw that Prince Charles had a new pinky ring. They said he updated the pinky ring to his father's coat of arms, but I think he was wearing his father's pinky ring. That's what I think. He's wearing Philip's. And when they got up to the box, somebody I haven't seen in a long time, Princess Margaret's son, the Earl of Snowdon. And he was there with his partner, Isabella de la Brigadier. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, they were seen up there with Zara and Mike and Sir Tim Lawrence. And by the way, the Earl of Snowdon, he is the second Earl of Snowdon. I believe his full name is David Armstrong Jones. Now, also spotted up in that box was Beatrice and Edo. They were getting cozy and cute. I think they're so adorable. And then, of course, once the races go on, Beatrice was getting all into this. I think everybody in that royal family is really excited about Ascot and the races. I'm telling you, she just couldn't contain herself. I wonder if she won. Now, Sophie and Edward presented the trophy to the winner of the King George V Stakes. And King Charles and Queen Camilla were seen down there because they presented the gold cup on day 3 of Ascot. Looking fabulous. And a thank you to Remoulade Sauce. Here we go. All right, I wanted to touch on this. Let's move into our Harry Meghan stuff. Chris Harrison, he is the ex-host, I guess, of Bachelor, and he has a podcast called Through the Drama, and he shared his thoughts on the baby mama dance, and he goes, she finally had what she seemed was like a normal moment, and it went viral, and she's dancing with Harry in the hospital moon, and it just made her look like a normal human being, but she can't take the win of just letting it go. She's like, remember when I had that moment? It's just cringe, and she can't get out of her own way. God bless her, he said. Because she's always talking about you have to be authentic and how grateful she is to be back on, social media. But he's like, she can't just take the win. She keeps getting in her own way, which I agree. And another person spoke out, Vicky Patterson. She was on a show called I'm a Celebrity, and she had a talk with somebody named Angela Scallion on their first Get a Grip podcast, and they talked about Meghan. And she said, I couldn't hide my disappointment she's watching with Love Meghan, and she told off Mindy Kaling for calling her by her maiden name. She said, when Meghan corrected Mindy Kaling, I was like, that Mindy, I think she's all right. She was like, oh my God, there's no way I'm slapping my pal's wrist on a Netflix series for something like that. She said it really gave me the ick. Now keep in mind, these are two people. They don't dislike Meghan for her color or, it's her character and her actions. Get it? All right, you guys, this story did not surprise me. Remember, Harry has tried to emotionally blackmail his father before. I've told you before they were withholding the children. And remember, when Frogmore was being taken, Harry goes, what, don't you ever want to see your grandchildren? But he didn't have a relationship with his grandchildren. Harry and Meghan used him as bargaining chips. So now they're saying that the reason that Harry is okay with his children being shown to the world is because Charles will somehow see the pictures of his two youngest grandchildren and see what he's missing out on. So since he doesn't know the children and Harry and Meghan withheld the children, now that he's been cut off, he's trying to dangle the children in front of his father so they can see what's missing. And maybe this can force a reconciliation. Apparently, Charles will not have anything to do with Harry, not even on Zoom. Well, I mean, maybe Thomas Markle would like to meet the children. But of course, Thomas Markle's not a millionaire and he doesn't have anything to offer except love. So of course, Harry and Meghan they don't care. And I just want to say this picture makes me sad. Two children all alone on a carousel being kept away from the other children. How sad. All right, before we move on with more Harry Meghan stuff, you won't believe it, I had to touch on this. Apparently, Nicola Peltz, remember, her father is like a billionaire and she has a trust fund. Her family, it's being said, have accused David and Victoria Beckham of being tight and not properly providing for their son, Brooklyn. Now, apparently, Brooklyn and his wife bought an £11 million Hollywood mansion, but she's the primary owner of the home because they used her trust fund money. So according to the article, David and Victoria feel like Brooklyn is trapped by this arrangement. Apparently there's also a prenup that was drawn up to secure the Peltz family enormous wealth. The father is worth like $1.6 billion. And what's being reported is that her family says that they're not giving money to Brooklyn and, it's power and it's this. And, David and Victoria are two working class kids that have gone well. They've done well. So they weren't just going to hand their son millions of pounds, But they did say also they don't needlessly spoil their children. They have taught them the value of money. But apparently, Nelson Peltz and his wife Claudia see Nicola as the apple of their eye, and they don't want her to struggle financially. But I don't understand what the big deal is. He's a billionaire. She married the man of her dreams. Why can't he provide for them? Why is it Victoria and David's responsibility? It's actually Brooklyn's responsibility. The man might actually have to go get a job like normal people. All right, this next story I just thought was very interesting. Apparently, all of Meghan Markle's best friends posed at a luxury dinner for female founders. But guess what? Yeah, Meghan wasn't there. You know who was there? Abigail Spencer, Delphina, Nacho's wife. And they both were on the With Love Meghan. And they were among the quote-unquote Montecito girls in attendance. The gathering was hosted by shoe designer Amy Haller. So they shared all these snaps and photos from the event, commenting on it. There was flowers and personalized name cards and curated menus, which they're saying all channeled a very as ever aesthetic, but Meghan didn't show up. Well, maybe she wasn't invited. Now, let's get into what was the big thing for today. We know that Meghan is no stranger to plagiarism accusations, everything from the rebranding of her lifestyle and using the name to the logo. We heard how she copies different people, Goop and necklaces and books and the whole bit. We've heard it all. I've done multiple videos on this, and the links for those videos where she's plagiarized statements, and I've got, you know me, I bring my proof. So it's all in there, and I'll put the links to those down in the description box. But when I was on Twitter just the other day, there's a account called Good Boy Goo 2. Like Good Boy Goo, GOO2. And they had done a video, and I took some of the stuff from that video along with my other stuff, and I'm going to put together a compilation. Now, you're going to see stuff from before they left the royal family, after they left the royal family. It's not just one person that Meghan Markle likes to copy. So here is everything for you. Please remember, Meghan said the royal family made her dress like Diana. Keep that before and after in your timeline. And there's a lot of pictures in here you may never have seen before. So, all right, let's go. You guys know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe. Go down into the description box after you leave your comments where you'll find the link to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, a link to my second channel, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.